Hey guys, Fizznight here. Today I'm going to do a review on the RG351M made by Anbernic. This is a non-sponsored video. I'm doing this review because I really love this device Anbernic built. So this is a portable emulator ROM device for all your favorite retro games. This device will basically play all your favorite retro games up from the NES up to the PS1, Dreamcast, and PSP generation. So stay tuned, guys. This is an amazing little machine here. RG351M comes in this nice white box. I would compare it to an iPhone box. Feels just as sturdy, nice color and layout. It does come with an instruction manual and a nice USB charging cable. Now let's get into the specs of this device. We've got a very nice and bright 3.5 inch IPS screen. I would have liked a little bit bigger screen. It's not nearly as big as, say, a Switch or probably your phone, but it is big enough to read text. I bought it to play a lot of the old RPGs. I never got around to playing back in the day, and RPGs have a lot of text, and I haven't had any issue reading from the device, so that wasn't a deal breaker for me personally. So moving on to the build quality, it's boasting an aluminum alloy shell chassis, which is extremely nice. It does come in two colors, the gray and black. It seems like the gray is a little harder to come by as of this video. I noticed some dealers on Amazon were back ordered with the gray version. Keep that in mind if that's the color you're interested in. That's the color I went with, as you can see here. I did have to buy from a vendor that was a little more expensive. If you're going the Amazon route and want it right away with Prime or something, you may have to pay a few more bucks like I did if you want the gray version, like I said. Because of the alloy chassis, it is a little heavy. It's not unbearable or anything, but if you work all day with your hands or something and you come home and sit down and play, you might feel it has a bit of weight to it. I just propped mine up on a pillow and it seemed to work okay. Being how great the button layout system is on this device. So speaking of the price, the RG351M is retailing for $134.99 USD off the Anbernic homepage. I'll link that in the description below. I'll also link the Amazon vendor I bought from as well, if that suits your fancy. I believe I paid around $160 total to get the color I wanted, and with the Amazon Prime 2-day shipping. For the internals, the RG351M has quad-core 1.5 gigahertz processor and a 1 gigabyte of DDR memory built in. On the official Anbernic website, it lists the battery as lasting up to 8 hours. I haven't tested this officially, but I have played the game hours at a time before bed, and I haven't dropped below 50% battery life yet. So I would say the battery life is very good for this handheld overall. If you're playing for more than 4 or 5 hours at a time, you may need to plug it in. That's up to you. Anbernic did a phenomenal job on the quality of buttons on this device. All buttons feel smooth and fluid when pressing them. This includes the D-pad and both directional sticks. The sides of this machine come with your standard headphone jack and a really nice volume wheel on the side. There's also a shortcut to increase or decrease the volume in game by just hitting the R3 button and directional keys. Check out the shortcut table on Anbernic's website for more info on that. The system comes with a 64 gigabyte micro SD card. Now, one of the gripes I had about this system is when I received it, I fired it up and loaded one of my favorite RPGs to basically test how the save features work on the operating system. I noticed right away when I turned the device off and back on, it didn't save my .srm file or my save state file. Your .srm file is basically your in-game save file that you would normally save to in-game, like at an inn or an overworld or something. And the .state file is obviously the save state file you can do as well within RetroArt, like when you save states with any emulator. Those are the differences there. RetroArch is the multi-emulator system. The RG351 uses. So I went online and I did some research about this save issue, and I found on a Reddit forum, which I'll link that below as well, is that if you fail to close out of the game with RetroArch in the quick menu option, it corrupts the card and you have to use Windows Repair to fix it. I should say I don't know exactly if that's why it corrupts it. This is just what happened in my case. I didn't test it again to make sure. I just basically repaired my card in Windows 10, and then I flashed the stock card to a bigger micro SD card and then stopped using the stock card. So that's something to keep in mind. So if you do run into this problem, I know this is just a review video and not a how-to, but I'll sneak this fix in here as well anyway, because it's a pretty easy fix. Basically, you'll need a micro SD card reader for your PC. I'll link the one I use and bought off Amazon in the description below. I believe it was around $15 USD if I remember for the card reader. But once you have that, you just stick that card into the USB reader, stick the USB in your computer, navigate to the File Explorer and to your flash drive, click Properties, then click the Tools tab, and error checking, click Check, and it should pop up if you have errors, and then just fix them basically. That's all you need to do, and just remember to close out of the program using the quick menu by pressing the R3 and L3 buttons simultaneously. This gets you into the RetroArch quick menu. There's a good button shortcut table on Anbernic's website, which I stated before. And I'll put that link in the description below. It does give you some good shortcuts to save the state of your game quick and other helpful shortcuts instead of actually going into the RetroArch system again for your game. If you do buy a bigger card, which I recommend, basically you can easily just flash the drive it came with in a program called Win32 Disk Imager. This is a free program. I will leave the link in the description below. It's a pretty self-explanatory program, so I'm not going to spend a lot of time on it here. Just create an image of the stock card, take your old card out of your card reader, put your new card in your reader, and write the image you saved on your PC to the bigger card. That's it. It's pretty simple. I think anyone could probably do that. Just follow the steps I just said. I believe the biggest card you can use in this system is a 256 gigabyte micro SD card. That's what I purchased. Again, I'll leave the link to the card I purchased in the description below. Don't quote me on that. I think that's what the website said on Anbernic, that's the max size it could use. I could be wrong on that. So again, if someone actually knows for sure, you can leave that in the description or in the comments below. I'd appreciate it. Also, a couple more important items I should mention before I end this video is that it does have a built-in Wi-Fi chip that allows you to download games to the system via your Wi-Fi network, which is really awesome. I believe the previous generation of this system, you had to buy a dongle to do this. Also, mine came with around 2,500 games built into the stock card. These included basically every NES, SNES, Sega game, and a lot more titles from other generations of consoles. Basically all working right out of the box with no need to configure anything, which was really great. It does not include an HDMI out, so be aware of that if you were thinking you wanted to hook this up to a monitor or TV. So just some final thoughts and to wrap this video up. I did test some PS1 and PSP titles. For the most part, they ran fine. Some cutscenes, the frames would drop. Nothing game breaking, I would say, though. I also tested a few of the Dreamcast games. I did notice a bit more slowdown and frame drops than compared to the PSP and PS1 titles. But I would still say, even the titles that I tested, if you're not really that picky, especially if you're just playing something casually, any of the older generation consoles ran perfectly. But again, if you're just playing casually with the Dreamcast, you probably won't even bother you really. This review doesn't include every feature of this device. This machine is packed with all kinds of emulation goodies. I just don't have the time to explain all of them in one review video. I would say if you're looking for a great way to play your old retro titles on the go, I don't believe there's a better option in my opinion. with just the build quality, the ease of use, the buttons, the quality of the buttons, the setup with the system, you just aren't going to go wrong here. Guys, if you enjoyed this review, please hit me up with a like and subscribe. Also, if there's any comments or anything you guys feel I missed here, feel free to add it in the comments below. I love reading your guys' comments and responding, so feel free to do so. Keep on gaming, guys, and I'll catch you all later.